Hello, world.
Hey, Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a slight adjustment in the program. You got to go on the fly. We got JC. We're supposed to have Francesca Anea talk Gator softball, get her thoughts on the World Series, but she came down with strep, so she cannot talk. So that is not good on a podcast. We just sit here and just look at Francesca and ask her questions, and she wouldn't be able to respond. So we will get her on another time. But guess what, folks? You get JC. Would you rather have Francesca Anea or JC? So we're going to go with JC, and we're going to be joined by him on the Titan MR Hotline. Good morning, JC. How are you?
I'm great. When I watched Franny play, I think I saw the furthest home run of my life in college softball when she hit a ball that almost seemed to go over the pine trees in left field. It went so far that you lost sight of the ball. She was a slugger, man, and she was a great player. The other one was Brittany Schutte. She was the other player that hit the second longest home run that I've ever seen in my life. So, so that's too bad about Franny there.
Yeah. So anyway, you're stuck with me and JC. We'll take your comments and your questions. First thing I want to start out with, JC.
Okay.
Were you playing goalie for either one of those teams last night?
I know, right?
It's like
the Olympics.
I don't watch a whole lot of hockey, but I love the playoffs. There's nothing like it. Yeah. But for the average person that watches that, you got to think, there is no way in the world that the Rangers or the Lightning can beat either one of those teams with the offensive firepower they have. Now, granted, they don't have great goaltending, but the speed and the way those two teams play.
I did think of that.
I couldn't believe it.
I did think of that. And I see what you mean when you watch these guys skate. It was pure art. The way they moved the puck, the way they skated. The defense looked like it was standing still, QB. I will tell you, though, that the Rangers and the Lightning play much more physical on the defensive end than those two we saw last night, and that will even it up for sure. And it will be a great Stanley Cup final because New York and Tampa are extremely good. They're very good teams. I think you just saw a different type of hockey last night. I just think defense was an option.
It's Big 12 hockey.
It's Big 12 hockey. Yeah, it is. And that's kind of what it looked like. Those goaltenders had no chance. It was reminding me of an all-star game, or Russia in the Olympics playing, Germany. I just think that you'll see a different style tonight. You'll see a much lower scoring game with Tampa in New York. You'll see a Tampa team that's been off for almost a week or over a week, very well rested. They won't have Braden Point, but they are well rested, and New York is coming off a 7-game series. So, the Lightning are going in at minus 175 for the series. I think that's a little steep. I think the Rangers should get a little bit more respect than minus 175. But if you want the Rangers, you can almost get 1.5 to 1. So, they have the home ice. I don't think that'll matter. And I think we're looking at a 6 or 7 game series here, too.
Yeah, a couple times I had to check to make sure these teams weren't on power plays because the puck stayed in the offensive zone for hours.
They handled it. The way they passed the puck and the way they maneuvered, they're great players on the ice last night. Best in the world, clearly. McDavid, McKinnon, Hyman, just everybody, Kadri for Colorado. These are just great. These are the best in the world. That's just all there's.
They are. Rick asked on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, does JC have a pet crow? I think I hear one. Do you have a pet crow?
We are crowed up out here at Crowstone, Hawkstone. So lots of bird life where I live. There's no question about it.
You should become a bird watcher.
Well, I have a friend. You and I have a mutual friend from Mississippi that has an app on his phone. And he showed me how to pull up this app. and it starts to sing these little tunes. The next thing you know, I had 10 Cardinals and 3 Blue Jays and 15 Robins in my magnolia tree out here. And Revel was just looking at me saying, "Isn't this the coolest app you can talk to the birds?" So I was just enjoying that. He's an outdoor guy. God bless him. I hope he's watching this morning. But
John has a yeah, I'm sure Revel's watching. John has a Facebook Live comment here. He says, "QB, I was looking back at the 09 Gators. They were 60-3 entering OKC and led the country in home runs that year, but we know they didn't win it all that year. Just curious if you see any similarities between the 09 team and this year's OU team." I didn't realize we were 60-3. Was that the first year what was the first year? I was going to ask Franny this. What's the first year? Was it 09 that we went to OKC?
I don't know if it was 09, 07, or 08. I just remember it was about 15 years ago.
Well, I remember the first time we went, if I'm not mistaken, we played Washington for the national title, because I was at that. And that's when they had the little portable fences in the outfield, the little portable fences that are about 4 feet tall. Because I remember, girls would catch and fall through the fence.
Yeah, I do.
I've lost track of time, though. We've been so many damn times.
Yeah.
I don't see any similarities, because this Oklahoma team, it's like no other team I've ever seen.
Well, I know. I mean, you thought that last year's team was one of the best ever. Watch till you see these girls play offense. This is like watching Colorado in hockey. I mean, they just keep pounding and pounding. They basically beat you into submission. And the only way you stop them is if you get a Kat Osterman or a Monica Abbott in the circle to pitch, because these are the best hitters in the game right now. They're the best. They're the best hitters in the game.
John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, we had Danielle Laurie waiting on us. Yeah, so that was the year. Yeah. Speaking of Danielle Laurie, you remember who got a hit off Danielle Laurie and the swing for cancer?
Old boy went up there, and he had – I thought the funniest thing was seeing you up there with your batting helmet on and just trying to make contact. And sure enough, Danielle threw one a little up in the zone, and I watched it from the first base side, and he got his bat out there, and it went straight to right field, base hit. So
right over second baseman's head, line drive.
Impressive. It was impressive. She was bringing it pretty hard, and she's one of the best of all time. Her and Tara Mowat, and the two I just mentioned, those were the Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore type pitchers in that sport. And there was this girl, Megan Laudenfield, or somebody from UCLA, who was also one of the greats. But Florida is on its way. I know how great Oklahoma is. It's theirs to lose, but this is a one-game situation where you get to play somebody for 7 innings and anything can happen. I always say you can't go into something like this thinking that we're all just playing for second. If you do think that way, then stay home and don't bother. So you have to go in there thinking you can win. I believe that every single team that goes in there knows how good Oklahoma is, but also knows that they have a right to be there because of how good they are. So, QB, you got to watch it, right? I mean, you're not going to just put it on and say, well, this is just – we're all playing for second. You can't think like that. So.
Absolutely not. I mean, anything can happen. So, Gators tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, they face the Oregon State Beavers.
That's right, and that's a good draw. I think they got a good draw.
They got a great draw, because if they win, which they're probably going to win, they're going to face former assistant of Kenny Gajewski, who was here for years with Tim, who's built that Oklahoma State program into a power as well.
Done a great job. Just a great job. He was the first base coach. I mean, and there he goes off to Oklahoma State. And look at what happened. I mean, there are 2 teams there that did beat Oklahoma in this tournament. So in a specific game, and that's all you're looking for is one game, right? One game. So we'll have to see what happens. Texas and Oklahoma State did beat the Oklahoma Sooners this year. So Kenny's just been tremendous for them at Stillwater. They've got a great. They're kind of like Florida, the bat sports or the glove sports or whatever you want to call them, pretty good at Stillwater, and they're pretty damn good in Gainesville. So this is fun to watch, man. I'm not going to be in Gainesville this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm going to be off, but I'm going to watch these games on TV. I've got to see what happens.
I don't think you get them on TV.
The College World Series will be on TV.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the the regionals.
No, I'll have to figure that one out.
You got to get all these streaming and crap. So Andy says Allie Gardner hit the granny in 09. So that was our first year. I was there. I remember that. She went opposite field for the Grand Slam. That was against some school called Alabama.
Alabama, yeah, beat them on the Grand Slam. Sure did.
Okay, JC, we're going to talk about SEC not media days, but the meetings here in just a second. But I want to get to this because who was it here? Somebody just asked about Dustin Johnson. Okay, the Saudi Arabian Golf Tour, which I don't understand what LIV stands for. Do you have any idea what that means?
No, but I do know it refers to that. So I don't know what it was.
You what?
Yeah, I know it refers to the Saudi Arabians, but I don't know exactly what that acronym is.
Well, Dustin Johnson is playing in a tournament there along with some other PGA Tour players this weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
They said he was offered like $75 million or something like that. I mean, that's crazy.
Just the dumbest thing ever to play a golf tournament. But hey, the Saudi Arabians, look, oil prices are $118 a barrel right now. Do you think they care about $75 million? I mean, honest to God, that's pocket change right now.
Okay, so Rick, we got these great listeners that love to do all the research for us.
Yeah, apparently.
So Tim Walton got here in 2006. First World Series appearance was 2008.
Yeah.
We went in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14, and 15 were the national championship years. We've been back since then, haven't we?
Well, they've won one national championship.
So, we've won two.
Two, but they've played for how many? 4?
They've played for, the two that I've been to, we lost in the championship series to Arizona State.
So they played 4.
Washington. Okay. Right. So we played for 4 national titles. John says, QB, what do y'all think about Alabama not making the tournament and Ole Miss making the field? Ole Miss didn't even make it to Hoover.
I don't really think much about it because these are bottom dwellers, and I don't think they're going to be around after this weekend. But, I mean, the SEC is well represented in the baseball. And, what do you think, QB? Do you think it matters that Ole Miss is going down to Miami to play? Or where?
Well, I guess he's asking because Alabama won a couple of games in Hoover.
Yeah.
They were kind of, that team that was on the border, on the bubble. Yeah. And Kentucky's another team that can be disappointed that they didn't make it as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I will tell you, though, that if you, according to D1 Baseball, you might find this interesting, QB. D1 Baseball is a publication put out by Kendall Rogers, who covers baseball front end and back. And there was a poll amongst his staff that is, spends 365 days a year on baseball. And that poll said out of the 7 people polled, 4 of them said Gainesville had the toughest regional. And I agree. I would say that's accurate because when you look at Oklahoma and Liberty, we already know about what Liberty's about. We've seen them down here. But then there's Oklahoma, who just blew out Texas in the Big 12 thing. And then Central Michigan's got 41 wins or something to that effect. So of the 7, 4 said Gainesville was the toughest regional. 2 said the second toughest regional was in Statesboro, Georgia, with Texas Tech and Notre Dame there, which I can see that. And then the last vote went to the Stanford Regional, which has Stanford, Texas State, Santa Barbara, and Binghamton, New York. But the Gainesville Regional, folks, you want to see some good baseball? OU's coming.
I think all three of the opponents won their conference tournaments.
Yeah.
So it's
don't know why they did that, but that's the way it worked. I guess with the NCAA selection committee.
Well, let's just be fortunate that we're hosting. Not traveling to Hattiesburg or somewhere.
Yeah, or Norman or wherever. Didn't Liberty come down here and sweep Florida early in the season?
They took 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay. Well, it's a good team. I mean, I don't know how they're good at so many things in that tiny little school, but it's a good school, a good team. So
yeah, definitely is. Speaking with JC here on the Titan More Hotline, Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. If you were tuning in for Francesca Anea, former Gator All-American softball player, unfortunately, we had to cancel her. She has come down with a batch of strep throat, so we wish her to getting well very quickly. Let's see here. So John says, which bandwagon will JC hop on with Mississippi State and NC State not being?
Let me tell you after the regionals there.
Regionals?
Okay? After regionals. I people hate me for saying this. I don't care. I like Tennessee, man. I know it's an easy pick, but it's an SEC school. I want to see SEC schools win. That doesn't matter in any sport. In any sport, I want to see them win. And we'll touch on this here in a minute when we discuss these meetings that they're having out in the Panhandle. But I root for SEC schools. So if Tennessee is playing Stanford for the College World Series, you going to take Stanford? You going to root for Stanford? Are you really? I mean, think about it. Look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the mirror and go, yeah, I think I'm going to root for Stanford to beat the Tennessee Volunteers out of the SEC. Go ahead. Try and figure out yourself there.
We got a text. We got a text here, JC, on the Titan More text line from Lawrence. Lawrence says, "Hey Shane, I heard you mention yesterday, talking to Buddy, that the Clemson Tigers may come after Kevin O'Sullivan. Do you think that's a possibility?" I absolutely do. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
Now he was an assistant there for a long time. I don't know if Sully played at Clemson. Do you know the answer to that, JC?
I want to say he played at Virginia, but I don't know why I want to say that.
That sounds right too.
Yeah.
But no, Clemson back, it seems like 10, 15, 20 years ago, was very relevant in college baseball. It seemed like they went to the World Series every year.
They were good.
They've struggled, and they're going to come with a boatload of money after him for sure.
And somebody mentioned a week ago Texas A&M might too.
No, Texas A&M just hired a brand new coach.
I'm sorry, that's Tim
Walton.
They're going to go after. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That was softball. God, what if
yeah. So I mean, you think it's a possibility that Sully could leave?
Listen, man. When money is the thing that. Yeah, I know quality of life is important. You can have the same quality of life in Clemson as you can have in Gainesville. Okay, you can. And that goes for College Station as well. So I think money is a determinant factor. When kids are grown and when you have schools that are not a factor anymore in your young people's development, you go with your career. So I don't know though. I don't want to speak for them. Obviously, they love Gainesville. They've been here a long time. But how do you not at least think about it? And I'm sure they will if they get offered.
Yeah. I don't know what Tim's contract is like now. Yeah. But maybe they need to reevaluate that. Jeff says on Facebook Live, Liberty has 47,900 students on campus. It ain't tiny.
What? No, they do not. They do not have 47,000. It's not a Big Ten school. Come on. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Their football stadium is half the size of Florida Field. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they have 47,000 students, then I will stand corrected, but I would be willing to bet this hat. Well, no, I wouldn't actually, but I would be willing to bet that they do not have 47,000 students. That would make it bigger.
We're going to have somebody look it up.
That would make it bigger than
our research staff will look that up.
That would make it the biggest school in Virginia. Are you going to tell me it's bigger than Virginia Tech? Is it bigger than Virginia Tech? It's not. I think that's wrong. I think that's bad. That's fake news. I don't believe it.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, Clemson's an amazing town. If you've ever been there, it's one of the best home game atmospheres out there. I love Clemson.
Yeah, and College Station apparently must be a hotbed to live in.
Well, Clemson is like, seriously, is like rolling into Stark, taking a right, going out into the country, and there's a beautiful campus.
It's a great campus. Yeah, it's a great little campus there in the upstate of South Carolina, my man. And, it's amazing what that little school's been able to put out, athletically. With the right leadership, you can do it anywhere. And they've done it at Clemson. So,
speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, no Francesca Nea under the weather with strep throat. All right, JC. So let's talk about the SEC meetings in Destin. I think the biggest thing, and I haven't followed it that closely, but the biggest thing that I think that I've heard come out of there from several athletic directors, there will be no pods.
No.
The pods, it's not even an option right now. There's two options. You play either 8 SEC conference games or 9. Is that what you read correctly?
Yeah, I think we are going to get 9 games at some point. But here's the thing, QB. We are in the month of June in 2022, and I know they have to plan this stuff maybe a year or two in advance, but we're talking about conceivably 2025 issues right now. So I guess that's what you want to do when you need the media to write about something, when there's nothing else to write about. You talk about something that's 3 years away. Actually, yeah, 3 years away, 3 full years away. We're talking about 2 graduating classes that'll have nothing to do with this organization that we're talking about in terms of how we schedule these games. Now, I think they've always had to go, or they always should have had to go to 9 games. I think playing 8 games protects them schedule-wise because, as we know, no schedules are balanced across the country. You lose 2 games in the SEC, you're automatically out of the college football playoff discussion, which is a point of contention, I think, for Greg Sankey right now. But you lose 1 or 2 games in the Big Ten and you win your conference, then they want you to have an automatic berth to the playoffs. So I think to me, these issues are important, but we're 3 years conceivably away from it unless Texas and Oklahoma find a way to break their TV deal and come to the SEC. And then, which that case happens, we got to just whitewash all the schedules, right? None of it will matter. What we're scheduling next year and the year after, which is 23 and 24. That's still before 25. So we're talking about 3-year issues right now in the summer of 2022, which I guess is fine, but I can't really think about it. I mean, do you really care how many games they play in 2025? Right now, I just want to know if Florida can go, 1-1 after the first 2 games against Utah and Kentucky. And I know nobody in the SEC media game days are going to talk about that, QB, but I think it's obvious the league needs to go to 9 games if you want to play everybody and not have a 6-year rotation of not playing somebody and have an entire graduating class never have going to Fayetteville or never have gone to Athens or Gainesville or Tuscaloosa. So if you want to do 9 games, do it. You don't need to wait to 2025. But there's some other things, QB, that's going on out there that I found to be very interesting, and that is Greg Sankey. He's having a great time out there with all the coaches, but he gets somewhat. I read this in Andy Staples' column because I always read Andy Staples. And he's somewhat uncomfortable when it comes to talking about the college football playoff. And it seems like what Greg is saying is, I want 12 teams, but I don't want automatic qualifiers from these other conferences. And let me give you a little anecdote about some of these other conferences. If you want a meritocracy in the SEC for playoff, you can have it because in the last 5 years, the highest ranked Pac-12 team, which would get an automatic bid in a 12-team playoff with 6 automatic qualifiers, the best team or the highest ranked team in the last 5 years finished 12th, 10th, 5th, 21st, and 12th, respectively, in the country. That's one top 10 finish out of 5 years. And you're going to give that team an automatic bid to the playoff?
Well, here's my argument to that.
That's what he says. That's what Sankey is saying.
Yeah. And I get where he's coming from, but let's look at the NCAA basketball tournament. Just because you're not a highly ranked team, from the Pac-12 or whatever, you get hot during the tournament time, you can make something happen.
Yeah, if you get in. Yeah.
You get in. So I'm all for the Power Fives getting an automatic bid if you win that league. I don't care if you're not even ranked. You probably get your brains beat in the first round, maybe not. But I don't know. I don't know the solution to it, but I don't agree with that.
Well, the solution is, from what we're kind of intimating here, is that you get the 12 best teams regardless. The 12 best. And, another point that was made was that there was a 7-year stretch from 06 to 12 that the ACC had only 1 team finish in the top 10. That's 6 years. So, again, you've got, a team with not a really good performance getting an automatic qualifying bid. And I don't know if the SEC is really interested in that kind of thing. They couldn't come up with an agreement. And a lot of that was personal anyway, because of how, Sankey and Oklahoma and Texas and the SEC kind of went behind the Big 12's back after negotiating a 12-team potential playoff. And that's how the Big 12 looks at it. So nobody can agree on anything. So they just scrapped the whole idea, QB, until at least 2025, which, again, we bring up something that could possibly happen 3 years, or in that case, it was over 4 years. So I guess
let me ask you this, JC. So if JC was back at TV 20 with the mustache and the plaid jacket, and you were rolling through the the lobby of Sandestin Resort and you go walk into the presser, what would you have asked Jimbo or Nick Saban this week?
I would have said, I probably would have, well, depending on my status in the media, I might have come out with a question of that would have gotten me shunned immediately. But my first question might have been, what time are we all meeting for happy hour after these dumb meetings are over? You know, we going to go to that tiki bar over there, or we going to go to that bar over there? We're going to get an ocean view. We're all going to break bread and have a great time. But professionally speaking, I guess if Jimbo was there and I had the microphone, I'd say, Jimbo, why such a virulent reaction to what Coach Saban had to say when he mentioned Texas A&M at a business meeting of Alabama boosters in Birmingham? Why the sensitive comments? And again, QB, this just drives me crazy. And maybe you need to correct me on my facts. But wasn't Jimbo Fisher the guy who named Nick Saban first when that little issue between paying players came out, when the recruitment of the Texas A&M offensive line was under scrutiny for having paid every one of those guys in February? And Jimbo was talking about Alabama well before Nick Saban went to that business meeting in Birmingham. Or am I wrong about that? Why does everybody think Nick Saban started this? It was Jimbo that brought up Alabama first back in February. Am I wrong or right?
No, I think you're right, because Jimbo was talking about that guy. I work for that guy. I know how he operates, blah, blah, blah. So here's what I said yesterday. I can't wait for that game. And I've been I don't say a supporter, but, you know, was it last year or 2 years ago I picked A&M to win the league?
It was last year, because you thought the quarterback before he got hurt was going to
lead so and I thought they had really good skill players, which they did.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they did.
However, I will say this. Alabama, I've had my buddy who's been on this program who has two boys at Alabama. He has watched them. He thinks this has a chance to be the best Alabama team they've had in 10, 15 years. I think it is going to be a massacre at Bryant-Denny Stadium when they play. I got that feeling that it's going to. I mean, I just think it's going to get ugly. And I think Jimbo better win. I mean, they've won 10 games once in the last 27 years at that school. I don't know if they can do that this year. Well,
they had before last year. They had lost to Alabama by no less than 19 points. With Jimbo Fisher as their coach. And these games weren't even close. Dude, Alabama had 55 on them a couple years ago. They scored in the high 40s the year before. I think you could be right, depending on how every team comes into these games health-wise. Alabama's going to have this game circled. I've been talking about it, and let's face it. That's October 8th is going to be I think it's a CBS doubleheader day. So they're going to stick that game on at prime time, which means I'm not going to get out of there till 2 a.m. But I don't care. I'm going to that one. I scratched the Texas game because of the start time, because of the way Fox ruins it. And so basically that game, depending on how these teams are going into it, you'd have to say Alabama's going to be a pretty heavy favorite.
All right, JC, before we get to our Peachland Dentistry golf picks, which is a big weekend because it's the Memorial, Andy on Facebook Live did some research for us. Okay. Liberty has 45,900 undergraduates. 33,000 postgraduates.
Well, does that mean that but they're not all on campus? You can be an undergraduate and be. I mean, I just okay, Andy. We're going to just fight about this. That's fine.
Here's what you need to do.
You can be the winner. I couldn't care less, frankly, but I just can't see that campus as big as this. Okay, it's not. And I don't care how many students they have.
That place has more. That place has more money though, so it could.
What has more money?
Liberty.
Than Florida?
They got a lot of money, bro.
I don't think they got the Florida numbers, bro.
It's a private institution, correct?
Yeah, but Florida plays in the SEC. They get the
I'm not talking about athletically.
Well, you're talking about what, endowment?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Rick did some research here, and he says Kevin O'Sullivan was a JUCO player, then went to Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. So we got that one right. Maybe I missed the Liberty factoid, but I did remember something about Virginia when he was hired by Jeremy Foley. And for all of the criticism Jeremy Foley seems to get because of facilities and how the football program fell behind dramatically, the spring coach hires he has and the national titles that Florida has in these sports, these spring sports, dominate the entirety of the SEC. I heard Scott Strickland yesterday on a Sirius satellite radio show, and he was talking about all of the national championships the University of Florida has won on the non-revenue side, and it's staggering when you add it up next to the rest of the schools in the SEC. It is staggering.
SEC titles too. It's not even close. It's like it's like I don't have it in front of me, and I'm gonna butcher this, but it's something like Florida's got say roughly 250 something SEC titles. The next best, I think, is Tennessee at like 70 or something.
I mean, it's overwhelmingly lopsided. So, they do, and he does deserve a lot of credit for, as an athletic director, those sports and the success of the coaches that have come here, which is, Jenny Rowland, Tim Walton, Billy Donovan. I mean, it's just Kevin O'Sullivan. It's just amazing the success they've had in the spring sports here.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if Sully and Tim Walton stay because they're going to be
looked at. They're going to be looked at
for sure.
You better believe it, they are.
Yeah. Andy says, interesting, the two Gator sports teams that lost eventual national championships this year were tennis and lacrosse. Lacrosse has been on the door. It's going to be hard for us to win a national title in lacrosse with those schools up in the Northeast. But yes, they lost. I guess Maryland won. Yeah, we lost to Maryland and they won the women's lacrosse championship. All right, JC, it's time for the Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. First off, before we get to our golf picks, the Memorial, Women's College World Series. Obviously, it lasts several days. Just going out on a limb right now, I don't have the bracket in front of me. Who plays in the championship series, in your opinion?
Well, I'm going to root for Tim's team. I'm going to root for the Florida Gators, but I'm going to take Oklahoma, and then it's kind of a toss-up, I think, after that QB. I don't think there's one team from 2 to 8 that stands out any better, dramatically any better than any of the others. I just think one is so much above everyone else right now. I like UCLA, though. I love their speed. They're kind of like Florida. They can create havoc on the base paths, and that puts pressure on the defense to do things that it's not comfortable doing. And they can manufacture runs with the small ball, and they can manufacture runs with their speed. So if it's not Florida, I'm going to go with UCLA, assuming that they can survive through the winner's bracket. UCLA and Oklahoma, if it's not Florida. I like Oklahoma State, but I think UCLA is the team to look at.
Okay. Before we get to the Memorial, I forgot today is the match. Brady and Rodgers versus Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Who you got in that match?
I'm going to go with whoever Aaron Rodgers is playing with, because
Aaron Rodgers is clearly the better golfer.
He's all close. Correct. That's right. So whoever is on his team, I think he's got Josh Allen.
No, he has Brady.
I'm sorry, he's got Brady. Excuse me. So it's Josh and Mahomes. Okay, yeah. Well,
see, I've never seen Josh Allen or Mahomes play golf. I want to say Josh Allen is supposed to be a pretty good player, but Aaron Rodgers is by far.
Yeah,
he would be, if they were all playing individual stroke play, he would be giving everybody in that match probably 4 or 5 shots minimum.
Yeah, no. The two best quarterback golfers that I've seen recently is Tony Romo and Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, I would agree with that. So we'll see what happens there. I think that comes on at like 6 o'clock tonight out in Vegas. All right, the Memorial, JC. You've been hot picking golf. Who you got first pick for the Memorial?
Well, John Rahm ate this course up, and I haven't picked John Rahm here in a couple weeks. I had him in the PGA, then switched him out at the last minute and put Will Zalatoris in. He hasn't played great here recently, but he loves Memorial. Give me John Rahm.
Was it last year that he got screwed in this tournament? Or was it 2 years ago?
No, I think it was first year COVID, so it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, he hasn't played great lately, but I expect him to play well.
Yeah, I think he's going to play well. Yes, I'm
going to go and I'm going to pick Patrick Cantley, who has not played well this year,
but he won
putted great.
But he's won this.
He's due.
And I think he's won this tournament. So, I mean, again, another player that's comfortable on that track. Jack Nicklaus courses are tough. They give you plenty of room to drive the ball, but man, you better be accurate shooting the ball into the green. Hitting the balls, your approach shots have to be good on any Jack Nicklaus design. So that's a good pick. I like it. I also like this young guy that we don't talk a lot about, but he seems to be in the leaderboard quite a bit, and that's Cameron Young. We have Cameron Smith. We have Cameron Smith out there who's won the TPC and who you like, but this Cameron Young can score. I'm going to go with him because he's the kind of guy that can break out just like Zalatoris at any time. So give me him.
He's a good one. I'm going to go ahead and go with the mullet man. I'm going to take Cam Smith because he hasn't putted the way he's normally putted, but if you watched him in the PGA, the dude lipped out on like every hole. Yeah. So I'm expecting them to go in. Who's your last pick?
My last pick would be Colin Morikawa. I think he's going to bounce back from a subpar performance at the PGA. And, he had some misfortune playing at the wrong times in the first two rounds when the wind was really bad at the PGA, and it affected him dramatically, unlike it affected some of these other guys that got to play when the wind wasn't blowing in the first and second round. So I'm going to go with Morikawa, Rahm, and Cameron Young. Morikawa, Young, and Cameron Young, and John Rahm. That's my moment.
I'm going to take the Englishman, Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he's another good ball striker. Tremendous ball. Just really good.
You know what I've always wondered, JC, and a couple of guys on tour. I would definitely do this if I was on tour.
What's that?
On Sundays, I would wear some type of orange and blue to represent my school. Some Ricky Fowler does it. I know Harold Varner wears his purple for East Carolina. Would you wear your crimson, JC?
Yeah, hell yes. And, John Daly doesn't go anywhere without a Razorback something. He's got a pig anywhere. But, yeah, do that. That's kind of nice. I like that. Ricky Fowler's an Oklahoma State guy. And, orange is a big color in his repertoire. I think Justin Thomas from time to time has worn a Crimson Tide shirt. I know he loves Nick Saban. He loves his school. So I think I think that's a great idea. I would definitely pull that out. And I don't know why Dustin Johnson didn't pull out all the Coastal Carolina gear when they won the College World Series, dude. I mean, what's he thinking? That's a no-brainer.
Maybe Adidas doesn't make teal.
Yeah, well, sure. If I'm Dustin Johnson, I wouldn't care. I'd still wear something that had Coastal Carolina on it. It could be black. It could be off-color with the logo on it. But
you can't wear the logo. I'm not talking about wearing the logo.
The color.
You can't wear the logo.
You're just talking about the color? You're just talking about
the colors. Ricky Fowler does not have the Pistol Pete in any of his stuff.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So anyway, I don't know what made me think of that, but I would definitely do that if I was on tour. But
by the way, yeah, well, it's okay. But QB, I just wanted to go back real quick to what we were talking about again with the playoffs and college football. And I know this issue really doesn't matter yet, but when you look at these conferences in the 2 years, the SEC got two teams in. That second team was 2-0 with a combined score of 58-17. We all know the semifinals in the 14 playoff has been kind of drab and kind of disappointing in many cases. The ACC one year got Notre Dame and Clemson in, and both teams got blown out in the semifinals. I just think the facts suggest that perhaps the playoffs should start with the assumption that not all conferences are equal, okay? And that basically means in most years the SEC is going to have two amongst the top four. So if we're talking about getting the best teams in there, maybe the third best SEC team is better than two conference champions. I don't know. I could make the case that that's what we've seen historically. So if you're going to make an argument that 12 teams need to go in, give me the 12 best. If you want to do 6 automatic qualifiers and 6 at large, I can live with that too. But they shot that down. So I don't know. Maybe they'll come back up with that. They got to do something because in 3 years they have to make a change. They have to.
Yeah, and the more the merrier for me. I know a lot of people don't like that. But I just think from a revenue standpoint, from the excitement of college football fans around the country, I mean, you go back to the Coastal Carolina teams, they could be like the 16 seed playing Alabama.
Yeah.
They probably ain't going to win. But
you'll have
the experience, and those people would be excited. Who knows? Ball bounces a couple crazy ways, they upset them. So
it could be interesting.
I'm all for the more the merrier. I know people don't like that, but
play some of these games on campus. Well, they have to be played on campus. You cannot have these constant neutral site games. People won't be able to go. So they have to be. Some of these games must be on campus. I think the top seeds have to be able to host an on-campus game as well, not just the bottom or the second four if you did 8. So there's a lot of things to talk about. But again, here we are. It's 2022, and the only thing that really matters is Utah coming into Gainesville.
That is the only thing that matters. Figure out a way to beat them.
That is the only thing that matters. And yet the press gives us so many hypotheticals over and over again that if you're talking about a 36-month lag, I just don't want to waste time on that anymore. I hope they do something with Texas and Oklahoma, but that's up to them. Oklahoma and Texas have to write a check to get out of that contract with the Big 12. So
all right, JC, before we let you go, speaking of Utah, right now, on June 1st, do the Gators beat the Utah Utes?
Well, see, there's so many unknowns about Florida, but since you're going to say right now on June 1st, you know what's going to be really crazy about that is right now on June 1st, every single odds maker in Las Vegas has the Florida Gators as a slightly less than field goal favorite to win this game in Gainesville. Now, realistically, is that just because they want to get some money heavy on Utah and then switch it around and give Florida all the points? I don't know. But it's going to be hard for a Florida team to beat the defending Pac-12 champions that are returning a lot of players with a quarterback who is very good. And yes, I just slammed the Pac-12 for being rather mediocre. That's true. But Utah, dude, you watch that game with Ohio State.
No, Utah plays. Man. Utah does not play like a Pac-12 team.
That's right. That is a good football team led by a legendary, one of the best coaches in college football. I mean, he's one of the best there is. He is one of the – Whittingham is as good as any coach in that conference. He's I wouldn't put him at the Pete Carroll level yet, but he's up there in the top 5 as far as Pac-12 coaches in the last 25 years. So I think Kyle Whittingham is going to bring a very good team in here, and Florida better have its best game early in the year if it wants to stay with them. And oddly enough, though, the odds makers are making Florida the favorite right now on June 1st. That could probably
it will stay like around 1 or 2, in my opinion. All right, JC, somehow we went way over time.
Well,
we appreciate it.
You don't have
what else?
Franny
I mean, we either had no Franny, or listen to JC, and people chose JC. So,
well, I'll tell you one more thing. Utah is all that matters. The next game after that at 7:00 is an SEC game. So the beginning of this schedule, folks, September is coming, and it's going to be a big it's going to be a trendsetter for what I think we see out of this football team this year. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will go.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take a quick timeout, come back, get to some of these Facebook Lives, some of these Titan MR texts. You're watching and listening to Pod with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, Aikido America, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shops, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinemas, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Medici's, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 2:30 you can get the hottest brunch in town. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank JC for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Dan says on Facebook Live, if UF loses to Okie State, they would flip and play the other side in Sunday's early game. They're in great shape if they beat Oregon State and Oklahoma State. Yes, the whole flipping the bracket thing has always confused me in the Women's College World Series. Joseph says, referring to the Gators versus the Utah Utes, it's going to be a tight game. Gators will be up by 3 late with a pick 6 for the good guys, and we win by 10. Write it down. That would be chaos, pandemonium in the swamp if that happens. John asks, in the NFL, they have preseason games. I always looked at the cupcake games as a preseason game to get everything ironed out. I know fans don't like them, though. That's a good point, especially if you have a young football team, new coaches or whatever. So we'll see. As I said yesterday with Buddy on the program, this football team, I don't know how good they're going to be. I will tell you they're going to be coached extremely well. There's going to be, running the football, playing good defense, takeaways, the old coach cliches you always hear. That's what they're all about, and they're going to have to do that in year one. Andy asks, Shane, any news on the timetable on the search for Mick's replacement? I think they're hoping to have someone by July, maybe sooner. I've not heard any names. Obviously I've heard some names out there. That's just rumors. I've not spoken with anyone at the UAA. They will do a good job. I know it's a job a lot of play-by-play guys want. But whoever they hire is going to do football and basketball from what I've been told. So, but no, I have not heard an exact timetable. And just so Gator fans, I know people want someone who's a Gator. I get it. But nobody knew who the hell Mick Hubert was when he was hired. And I know people probably didn't like it when he was hired, but he turned out pretty good. Dan says, is Spurrier's throwing me a big birthday party? No, I'm not a big birthday party guy, Dan. So, yes, my birthday is today. I appreciate all the messages here on Facebook Live. Turned the big 52. Getting old, folks, getting old. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're going to take another quick timeout, come back, get to a few more deals before we get out of here. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Ironwood Golf Course, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Wiebe, a realtor with Caldwell Banker MM Parish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Call her today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come home. I want to thank JC again for joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Appreciate all the birthday wishes, folks. Don't really know what's going on today, but we'll figure it out later. Normally I would play golf today, but no golf today. If you don't forget tonight, the match, the golf match, I know a lot of people aren't excited about it. I'm not, but it will be entertaining because Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley, I think, are doing the commentary, and you never know what old Chuck's going to say. So the TNT basketball pregame show and halftime show, there's nothing like it in all of sports. And they do a phenomenal job. They won some awards for it as well. But if you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Give them a call today. Hockey tonight, Lightning and the Rangers play. If you missed it last night, the shootout 8-6. Avalanche beat the Edmonton Oilers. And then tomorrow, the NBA Finals kick off along with the Gators in softball. Before we get out of here, John says, Fine Mom on ESPN said both Saban and Jimbo got the memo from Sankey, but you can tell there's still a rift there. Yeah, they didn't sit next to each other in the meetings. It's all alphabetical order. But yeah, they're not going to say anything in Destin. Hope you enjoyed today's program, folks. We apologize that Francesca could not join us. She hated it, but strep throat, can't talk. So we wish her to get well very quickly. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!